Okay, so the purpose of this video is to introduce you into the peer review scoring that will be a part of your platform participation. You get an opportunity to rate the participation of your fellow group members, which is a portion of your grade. And so I want to review how this works. Here are the instructions. First of all, you need to figure out how many people are in your group other than yourself. Really easy. For most of you, it's going to be 3. There's one group that's going to be 2, but in any case, how many people are in your group? The second thing that you need to do is that you need to multiply that number from number 1 by 10. So if you have 3 people in the group other than you, that would be 30. This is how many points that you're going to distribute amongst your team members. And then there are 2 rules that govern you distributing those points. You now have 30 points to distribute in any way that you see fit amongst those other group members. And again, this number changes if you're in the 3-person group. 2 rules right here. One person has to get 11 or more points. Another person needs to get 9 or fewer points. So someone could get 11, 12, 13, 14. Another person could get 9, 8, or 7. Doesn't matter. Some people have a question as to why this happens, and it happens because in no group does every group member do everything equally. There's always somebody carrying a little bit more of the load, and we have to take account for that person. So that's how we do this. Or it might be a couple of people, so we have to take that into account when we do this. So here's the example of how it would actually work. So Bob is in a team member of 4 people. The other team members are Jan, Bill, and Audrey. And so Bob would give points to his team as follows. Audrey down here is getting the 11 points. Jan is going to get the 9. And Bill, in order to make this round out, gets 10. Add all this up, you have 30 points in this example. Here's another example. Bob could do his points in a different way. If he felt that at some particular point in time that, Audrey was doing a lot more work and so was Bill, he could distribute his points this way. Audrey and Bill get 12 and 11 respectively, and Jan didn't quite hold up her end of the deal, so she gets 7 points. That's another way that you can do it. As long as your points total up to 30 or whatever the math is supposed to be, and as long as one person has 11 or more and another person has 9 or less, that's what you need to do for this. Again, here are the reasons that you might give someone 9 points or lower. They don't turn work in on time. Their quality of work is low. Maybe they disturb the group and the group has a hard time staying on task when they're together because the person isn't focused and isn't doing their work. A team member actually could dominate it. Usually that seems to be a different situation, but if a person is dominating and wanting to have their own way, they're not playing well, so they could get 9 points or less. And so that kind of takes on the last 2. 11 points or higher reasons. Again, higher quality work makes sense. They keep the team on task and moving, and the team member carries a whole lot more of the load, or just even a little more of the load, and they are really good at keeping the team focused. So those are reasons for 11 points or higher. So let's take a look at our fictional team. On the side here are all the people who have points to give. So points received by each team member, and this is how the points are distributed. So in other words, right here, Bob, right here, has his 30 points to give. The X is here because he can't give himself points, but Bob gave his points like this. Jan was the one that got 11, Bill got 9, and Audrey got 10. Right here, Jan gave her points in the following way. She gave Bob 10. You can see it right here. If we move all the way over to Audrey, this is how Audrey decided to do her points. She didn't give Bob, she gave Bob 8 points or less for whatever the reason may be. She gave him that. She felt that Jan was really the person who was doing the most. And as you can see, Jan consistently does better. And so this is how each person gives their points to the other members down here. Here in the following column is the total number of points. After the total number of points is put together, we look at a couple of different things. We see that here, when looking at the 34 points put together by Jan, Jan has set the standard. And 34 points is going to be the high level for peer evaluation. So what's going to happen is that Jan is going to get, in her grade book, 34 out of 34, which we know is 100. The rest of the people are going to get, in the case of Bob and Bill, they're going to get 28 out of 34. Audrey's going to get 30 out of 34. And when that is done, this is the percentage. For this portion of their peer review, Jan, again, getting 34 out of 34 points, gets 100. Audrey is the next highest. She's going to get 88%. And both Bill and Bob are getting 82%. And so that's how this whole thing works. You are now going to have to move on and fill out the online form for your team members.